Man, peace, family, peace. Shout out to everybody. We got a packed chat room already. Y'all in the chat ready, man. Now, brother, is Yosef or you? Is Yosef, right?
Yosef, yes sir, Yosef.
Yosef, yeah, yeah. You got a lot of supporters out there,
Yeah,
Yosef.
they love me, man. I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Yeah, you got some. They was hitting me up yesterday, like, yo, the brother gonna be on tonight. Like, nah, it's tomorrow, man. Calm down. Calm down. Yeah, they was anxious, man. Family was good, family. It's brother Rich. I got a new guest. I'm gonna tell you, I don't know how I ran into this brother's page on YouTube. I just ran into it this year, a couple of months ago. Maybe in March. Maybe in March, I ran into the brother's page, and I was extremely impressed with the brother's information, his delivery, the brother's heart chakra. That's important, not just robotic information, but the way the brother, the feeling. I don't just hear him, I feel him as he talks. So I said I got to get the brother on the channel. It took me a while to get through to the brother, but here we are today, brother Yosef. Let's get to some ads real quick, brother, and then we're gonna start the show. All right.
Absolutely.
Family, make sure you share the video. If you know anybody that's into the occult knowledge and really want to know, you know how we got the web and then we got the dark web. If you want to know what's going on in the dark cosmic web behind this matrix, you're gonna want to listen tonight. You're definitely gonna want to listen, tune in, and you're gonna want to share this with your family and with your friends because it's important to understand how this whole shit works. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's get to some ads real quick, and then we're gonna be right back, family. As I said yesterday, family, for those who are still interested in the options training course, you can email me, richandmerritt@yahoo.com. Everybody knows my email. I will put it in the chat in a little while. Thanks for everybody hit me up yesterday. I'm gonna get back to y'all. I'm gonna get back to everybody late tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, hit me at my email until we get it on the website. Shout out to King Simon, one of the best when it comes to numerology. He got his course, Holistic Numerovation course, Learn the Bath Method. Hit that brother up. Also, you can text him your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. And the brother will give you a reading over the phone. So hit that brother up. One of the best at what he do. Shout out to Copper Child Mike L. The crown that I wear throughout all my shows is sponsored by this brother. The brother makes magnificent crowns. Make sure you'll talk to the brother at iSkateNY. That's the Instagram. All right. All right. With that being said, man, listen. Brother Yosef, I want you to introduce yourself. You new to the Black Magic 363 family for most of the people. Introduce yourself to the people. Let the people know a little bit about yourself before we get into the show.
Okay. Well, I go by the name Brother Yosef. Um, that name always felt just suited me. You know what I'm saying? Because I always felt like I'm everybody's brother when I meet them. I'm everybody's brother, so I'll call myself Brother Yosef. I started on the metaphysical path in 2007, so I think that's around 15 years now. And I started out studying people like Brother Bobby, Dr. Phil Valentine, Dr. Delbert Blair, who's one of my favorites. God bless him. And I just really became obsessed. I mean, overly obsessed with just knowledge and information. So I was a person that was getting into ministry in my church. My other family members, my brothers and stuff like that, they went ahead and became ministers. I walked away from the church, and when I walked away, I had a very powerful spiritual experience that started me on a path to metaphysics. And for the first 2 or 3 years of my metaphysical path, I just studied hard. So that led me to where I am today. Today, I run a website, New Life Tools, where I sell different lectures that I do, different products that I work on. I also run a website, tpministries.org, where we are a tribal ministry where we assist indigenous people around the country, around the world. And that's kind of like my movement now. And yeah, so that's who I am. I'm just a brother that studies metaphysics, and I'm really deep into helping people around the world. That's just kind of what I do. That's who I am.
That's what's up. Now the occult. The occult is to be into the occult. You got to be deep into this to the studies because you could touch metaphysics, you could touch quantum physics, but to really go deep into the occult, that's another level. So you wasn't scared going from the ministries to the occult because that's a drastic change right there.
I'll be honest, brother. I was terrified. I did, but I had like I said, I had a 2006. Really, I had the experience. I had this experience with this person who looked like a man, but he looked like he was from India. He came up to my window and he told me, "Come here, son." And those are the words he said to me. When I walked to him and touched his hand, I became obsessed with. So I couldn't help myself studying the occult. I couldn't help myself, you know. Even though I was afraid, and my whole family kind of was like, you know, boy, you done lost your mind, and what's going on? I studied. So when I saw people like Dr. Phil Valentine, Dr. Blair, Dr. Brother Bobby Hemmett, it blew my mind to see so-called Black people with this type of information. I became even more obsessed. You know, I became even more to the point where, like today, I rarely read books because I've read so many metaphysical books, and I become a book hoarder until I'm more fascinated with getting it from the spirit world. You know, so the occult is my thing now. I say the term metaphysics to make it safe for people who scared of it. Like when I'm around my family and stuff, I'll say metaphysics. They, oh yeah, metaphysics. When you say the occult, you know, Black folk, we already got in our mind what the occult is. They think it's something evil. So that, yeah, I was scared at first, brother, but I got past that real quick.
Yeah, I work with this artist. When you just said you shook the brother's hand and you was immediately obsessed, I immediately thought about this artist I work with named Cambada. I don't know if you ever heard him. He had this rhyme where he said, "I'm Tahuti wearing Cam's face. I download your life story with a handshake." When you shake somebody's hand, because they say your whole life path is in your hand, do you think, are you downloading the information when you give them a firm handshake?
I would say if you're an alchemist, if you know how to, you know, and that's why I always tell people, be careful who you let touch you, you know. Certain people I have definitely touched and had a jolt of energy. You know what I'm saying? I remember when Dr. Blair came to my city, he did a lecture. My daughter's godmother is my witness on this. And Dr. Blair did something in front of me where he asked for a person to come up, and I rose my hand. You know, I went up there and he did something with my chakras, brother. He told me he was just explaining how easy it is to zap somebody's energy. And I remember when he did it, I had no energy. I would say maybe 10 seconds later. And before he could even fix me, I was just so excited that Dr. Blair did that to me. I just walked away. He said, "Wait a minute, let me fix you, man." And I remember he did something else with his hands, and I got all my energy back. So yes, having the right or wrong people touching you could be very detrimental, very dangerous. But for me, in that experience, this became like a spiritual entity. And when I touched this entity's hand, my whole life changed. It's almost like it was a wake-up call. Like, okay, here, woof, take this energy. It's time to wake up. And I became absolutely obsessed with spiritual knowledge and looking for it, brother.
You know, also, you know, now we're talking about parts of the body. We got the hands, also the eyes. You know, we're always told, make sure you look at somebody's eyes. But some people I talk to say they don't like looking in people's eyes because they feel like that person is trying to steal their energy or something like that. So what do you think about people who, like, sometimes Ren and Blue will be on the show and they be like, "Yo, take off your shades." And I'm like, "Yo, why y'all niggas want to see their eyes so bad for? Just listen to the information." What's the science of looking into somebody's eyes and gazing and staring in their eyes?
Right. Well, you know, in your eyes, you have your central nervous system is connected to your eyes. So when you're looking into somebody's eyes, if you know how to pull energy, you could definitely pull energy up from them through their eyes. And like people always say, the eyes is the windows to the soul. You know what I mean? So when you're looking at somebody's eyes, it's like they say that real people can read people in their eyes, say the eyes never lie. You know what I mean? So some people don't want to be read, but some people are shielding themselves from people who can, them vampires that could take your energy. So yeah, sometimes that could happen. Yeah, absolutely.
Yo, let's start out. You did a video. I've tell the people your YouTube channel. What's the name of it again?
My YouTube channel is New Life Tools, NULYFE Tools on YouTube. Some people just type in Brother Yosef, I pop right up.
So you had a recent video. Like I said, I've been watching your videos for a couple of months now, but you had a recent video, and after you did it, I was like, damn, I got to reach out to the brother again. You was talking about the primordials, and you started talking about dragons. I had a dream in particular last year. I don't know why I decided to do this meditation, but I had a kilo of gold with me, and I noticed the magnetic and the properties of gold. And I said, I'm going on this heavy meditation. I went into heavy meditation, and the first thing that popped into my mind and I saw was a red dragon. And ever since then, I've been trying to research them, but it's so damn hard to find information on them.
Yes.
So when I heard you started building on them, I'm like, oh, that brother going in. So could you start out with, you were saying how, I guess, the void or some people call it the 0 point field or the nothingness, or the Ein Sof I don't know if that's another name for it. But you're saying the first entity that it created was a dragon?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's start
I
off
would say
here.
the first entity in that realm of existence was a dragon. Well, what we call dragons, that consciousness. And I want everybody who's watching this to kind of look at the universe or the omniverse or whatever we want to call it that we live in. I want people to look at it as like a video game, like a computer program. And the creator, look at the creator as, Steve Jobs or somebody that created or Bill Gates, somebody that created a computer software program. Well, there's different nodes and systems in that software that's going to help the software run better. So these goes into archons and dragons and different things like that is going to be created to help the system run. And I didn't mean to say archons, because the archons came through the Demiurge. But before that, before creation, the false creation, there was the primordial world, which is the true world. And in that existence, you had different entities that the true creator, or like Dr. Delbert Blair should say, the universal prime creator created to run the true world, the true matrix that was supposed to be. And the dragon entities or the consciousness was the first ones they are the most conscious beings, the most aware beings in the universe or the omniverse.
So, all right. So give me a timeline from the universal prime creator. We got primordials, we got archons, we got who else? I forgot the other names. But give me like a timeline. How did all of this happen?
Well, we started out with the creator itself created a universe. And it's funny because I meant to have the Metal Netter next to me. If anybody ever read the Metal Netter, and they talked about how the creator created the universe. This creator created dragons and what people call the ultraviolets. These are just nicknames for these entities to kind of run this universe. So the time really doesn't start until you start building a false world. So this thing is before there was even a time.
Okay.
But the way the cycle goes is it goes from dragons and that universe. But in that universe, you also have what people call titans, what we call titans. And there's different variations of them. Some people even go into H.P. Lovecraft and dealing with the what do you call those? The Necronomicon, those entities and stuff like these chaos beings who to the third dimensional reality, they look like they're chaos beings to us. They look like they're what's the word? Grotesque to us. But that's because we're coming from a third dimensional mindset. But these entities in their true form are beautiful. They're beautiful entities. We can only see them as chaotic because we're looking at it from a third dimensional perception. And when you're dealing with spirituality, these beings, they look different on different realities, just like you do. If anyone ever woke up in their dreams, looked at themselves in the mirror, you do not look like yourself most of the time. You may look something like yourself, but you may notice different things, like your hair may be white or your eyes may be glowing. Now that's when you're in your higher astral form. You're actually still alive and you're still feeding energy to your astral form. You can look in these mirrors and actually see yourself. But when you're in your lower astral form, you're dead and you're not really conscious, then you look exactly like you looked on Earth. You're just a copy, you know what I mean? So you could start with the primordials being the entities who were here before time, you know what I mean? Those entities came on down to what we call the Sophia or the Great Mother, Tiamat, whatever you want to call her. And it's funny because Tiamat is even looked at as the Great Dragon, you know what I mean? The Great Dragon. So a lot of these cultures go back to having these first entities as great dragons. It's funny because even when you're dealing with the Olmec people, the Olmecs worshiped a deity that was a dragon god. And the Olmecs said that we lived inside of a dragon, or we lived on a realm of the dragon. You know what I mean? Now we know the Olmecs, we talking about like 1 million years ago. So they was on a whole nother timeline where you could actually see dragons. Right? I'm one of those people who, some people will say, well, let's not get too spooky, but I'm one of the people, I want to get spooky. I want to go as deep as this.
I want to get as spooky as you could get.
Right,
brother.
right.
Yeah, I want
to go as deep as this thing can go, right?
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with that, I talked about in my Dragon Magic class how even the dinosaurs were actually dragons. And this is something that's hidden from a lot of people. Now you got some people today saying the dinosaurs never existed. You know what I'm saying? Of course they existed. The dinosaurs were actually dragons, and it's funny when I had an astral projection experience. I sometimes I astral project and I get a lot of my information, and I'll talk to people. And I was told that the dinosaurs also had feathers on them. A lot of these dinosaurs had feathers. So when you hear the Mayans talking about Quetzalcoatl, this feathered serpent or dragon that was flying in the sky, you could have been talking about a dinosaur. One of the last few that was actually still around or existed. This is real information. The Olmecs dealt with a dragon god that they believed. And this is how sometimes you'll even see their pictures where they're in a spaceship, but they have a dragon behind them, right? That was representing the realm of the dragon and also representing a certain level of knowledge. And when you look at the Olmecs, their system was a theocratic government. So they had a system where the spiritual people, so the shamans and the priests were actually above the whole system. And it was said that these shamans could turn into jaguars and different animals and stuff like that. And these shamans will wear stuff with dragons on them sometimes to represent dragons, because that was a certain level class of the elite when you're dealing with the Olmec people. So this concept of dragons is very, very old. And when you get into the what they call the ultraviolets represent people who are high entities that are very high level lights. And it's light that you can't perceive sometimes, so it's viewed as darkness. Like Lucifer, I talked about Lucifer. Lucifer being more of a feminine energy. And then there's other aspects of primordials, like I didn't talk about in my past video, like the shiny ones. The shiny ones are ultraviolet or ultra terrestrials that deal more with the elemental entities. So we're talking about fairies, gnomes, and stuff like that. They have a certain class called the shiny ones that deal more with those entities there. So even when you deal with and that energy comes on down to melanin itself, right? When you're dealing with melanin itself, you're talking about an ultraviolet energy. You're talking about something that can't be perceived. Nobody really understands it. And I talked about Lucifer being love, right? Lucifer being love. And love is an energy or a force that cannot be perceived. It's hard to understand. And I was breaking it down in the video how you don't even get to choose who you love. You just fall in love. We believe we have free will, and we do to a certain extent, even though you choose your life before you come down here, and that's your free will. You already chose it. This is what you chose, even though you don't remember. But at the same time, that love energy is chaos. Like Brother Bob used to say a lot. It's that chaotic energy. It can make you kill somebody. It can make you heal somebody. It can make you love somebody. But at the same time, that ultraviolet, high level, high vibratory, pure love energy is also comes down to music, right? Music can be chaos until you order it. It becomes beautiful, right? So we're talking about, and I did a video called How to Evolve in the Left-Hand Path. And I talked about how the real high level dark side magicians, they get down with, they create chaos, but they control chaos, which brings order. You know what I mean? Order out of that chaos. So at the same time, melanin itself is chaos, but it's also ultraviolet energy. Because melanin is also can be looked at as love. It could be looked at as dark matter, dark energy, which is nothing but what love is. And alchemists, their biggest secret, you know, I found a lot of this stuff out just from studying. Alchemy, their biggest secret is using the vibration of love to transmute matter, to transmute things into the physical. You know, I want people, everybody who's watching this, I want them to get this book called The Black Sun. The Black Sun, the Alchemy and Art of Darkness, right? And it goes into
who's the author?
What's the guy named
who's the author?
Carl Jung. It goes into Carl Jung and how he had a name
Joseph,
for.
you can hear me?
Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, it sounded choppy for a second there.
Can you hear me?
How he had
I don't think you can hear me.
Energy called Soul Niger, right? A whole chapter here going in on the Soul Niger, right? You could call that the Soul Niger, Soul Nigger, Soul Naga, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? And then later on in the chapter, they have a whole picture in here of a black lady, and they say that this is the aspect of Soul Niger, and she's looking at a certain aspect of herself. You know what I mean? So I want everybody if you want to know deeper stuff about darkness.
Show that again. Can you show that again?
Get this book. It really explains a lot about melanin. And it's funny, on the first few pages, they actually give you the picture of chaos and what they call the Black Sun, right? the black sun, which kind of goes into the energy of Dot or Da'at in the Kabbalah, you know, and that Da'at energy can also be looked at as Lucifer, right? Can also be looked at as Lucifer or that ultraviolet high level energy. Tesseract, the yellow sun, they look at as the false sun. And then that Da'at energy is looked at more as the true Christ or the true Messiah that shines down from the other world, from the flipped world, from the true universe, which they call universe A. And then they say we live in universe B. You know what I mean? But I don't want to jump too far ahead of myself. I might be answering questions that you got already, brother.
Can you hear me? You can hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clear, brother.
Okay, all right. What's the author? Tell the people to author that book real quick that you just showed.
Yes.
Because they're gonna grab that. They're gonna I'm gonna grab that.
That's the author right there.
Staten Marlin family. Staten. I hope I'm saying it right. All right. You know, you said something interesting. Like you just said something. I mean, you on fire. You on fire today, brother. So I just want you to just keep going in. Don't think you're going.
Thank you.
I don't want you to hold back. Just keep going. You're on fire, brother. Just keep doing what you're doing. But you mentioned, you know, the Titans, and you mentioned the them being locked away by I guess we could say Tiamat or the Great Mother or okay, why would the Great Mother lock them away, the Titans away, to allow the what would you call it, Demiurge? Would you say the Demiurge to run chaos in this world that we live in?
Right. So, well, the Demiurge, if we understand it, is pretty much an aspect of the Creator, but it's like a deformed aspect of the Creator, right? But that entity still has, let's say, rights because it comes from the Creator to do what it wants to do. So when you understand that the Demiurge, nobody could stop it anyway. It was going to happen. But the Demiurge it couldn't do what it tried to copy what the Creator did. So the Titans being here already, the Demiurge built this world in the Titans world, in the Kalipotic world. That's why when you look at Malakuth, and a certain aspect of Malakuth goes down to the other worlds. You know what I mean? So it's not so much that the Creator locked them away. The Creator just separated them and said, hey, y'all stay over there. You know what I mean? This is going to happen whether you like it or not. This is going to happen. And the Demiurge, and this is why when you're dealing with demonic energy, or, you know, and I don't want to say demonic, meaning that this stuff is evil or bad, but when you're dealing with what we term the demonic energy, these entities don't hate you, right? Anyone who's on the left-hand path understands that these entities will work with you. They hate creation. They hate your body. They hate the idea that you believe that, huh?
You talking about the Titans hate creation.
The Titans, right. The Titans who are us to a certain extent, because our soul is primordial, right? So we come from the same essence. But the fact that they were already here, these entities, they don't like the fact that the Demiurge created this energy here. So we're kind of hated for, so they're kind of put away, these old guys, these old ones, you know what I mean? And it's funny, I want people to get this book too. Now, this is a book I gave away a long time ago. It's called Kabbalah, Kalipotic, and Goetic Magic. This book here I bought for $20, brother, maybe like 10 years ago. This book now was like $200-300. And I didn't even know that until I did a book release on my channel and said, hey, this is the book that all magicians should have in their library. And people started emailing me and say, hey, man, I booked $200-300. I was like, I'm sorry, y'all, I had no clue. You know what I'm saying? This is an old book. And shout out to my homeboy from Sweden. I forgot his YouTube name, something Dragon. He actually went and found the secret order that wrote this book and got down with him. So yeah, told the guy that I put the information out in there. So this is real deal. He has a whole thing in here where he goes into Lucifer and the Titans and the dragons. I want you guys to please, if you can afford it, get this book. This is one of the best left-hand path books I ever read in my life. And it goes into the Kalipotic side. You can see the dragon and the energy all around it. It breaks all that down. It breaks all that down, family. So that's kind of how it was. It wasn't so much that creator locked them away. It was more of that the creator just said, look, I'm gonna have to separate y'all because this entity is gonna do what it's gonna do anyway. You know, it's gonna do what it's gonna do. So that's kind of what that was.
So it's like a family fight. And
like a family fight, exactly.
We in the middle of it.
Right, it's pretty much. We're not supposed to be here, brother.
Yeah,
this is an illusion.
Technically, we're not here technically, huh?
Right, exactly. This is a video game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they like, yo, the fact that we believe that is real. This is why, even though I just consider myself a magician, but to help people understand, I'll tell people, oh, I'm a middle pather, meaning that I mess with all spirituality. Some people stay on the right side, some people deal with only the left side. But from studying both sides, I understand that, you know, these lower forces are way easier to access than angels, right? Because they'll come to you, they'll help you just like that. And a lot of them will help you release. They'll help you get out of that. You know, it's the brother got a whole section in here talking about secret aspects of your actual chakra system, that when you awaken them, it gives you access to these entities directly. And this is some adept information. This is secret information. That's probably why the book's so much money now. Because when I was reading, I said, this guy giving away some secret stuff, man. But once you activate these 3 chakras in the back of your head, pretty much you go to a whole nother level. So yeah, and they call it the black hole chakras. Whole nother level, family. So they hate the fact that you believe that this is real. They hate that. They hate that. You know, because if you knew that it was fake, you'd be trying to get out of here. So that's what it is.
So if we could use movies as an example, would Thanos be an example of a Titan? You see how he wanted to destroy the world?
Yes, absolutely. And that's a great example, man, because he wanted to destroy the world. You know, at first he wanted to destroy half of it. He said, well, damn, I got to get rid of the whole thing. You know what I mean? And in his mind, he was right to a certain extent. He's like, I got to get these people out of this illusion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all in illusion. Y'all just don't know it. Let me get these gemstones and get y'all up out of here. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he elevated himself through the chakra system with the crystals of power, and went on and took people up out of here, man. I wasn't mad at that movie at all.
Wow, man. Shit.
Yeah.
That's deep, man. How y'all doing in the chat? Make sure y'all continue to share the video. We got about 800 or something people in here. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. We started out on fire. The brother's on fire right now. So yeah, make sure you share the video. Let's talk about why did these entities, these gods why do they want to create this realm? What's their purpose for creating this realm?
Well, the actual Demiurge itself that created this realm that we live in, its purpose was to copy its mother. You know, it was jealous of its mother and wanted to make a copy of it. And the entity that we all know a lot of us who've been studying metaphysics for a while, we know the story how the creator actually tricked the Demiurge and put spirit or light into man. And the Demiurge found out that these entities actually come from the same place he come from. You know, we actually just as high as he is, but in order for him to keep his system running, he had to trick us and keep us down here, keep us low and create energies. Now, a lot of other primordial beings have access down here, and they put themselves down here as deities and gods. But a lot of these gods have something called an oversoul, right? That actually rules over and kind of controls their avatar. So they have avatars on different levels. They have, like, so let's say, for example, Lord Ganesha, right? Lord Ganesha has an oversoul that looks nothing like an elephant. Nothing like an elephant. It comes from the primordial world. But that energy is down here to help control this chaos. So let's just say that the creator is keeping an eye on the Demiurge. Let's look at it like that. But the creator had nothing to do with the physical world. So we got to be careful who we pray to sometimes. When we praying, we think we're praying to God or the creator. Which creator are you talking about? Because if you're talking about the creator of the physical world, you're talking about the Demiurge. You're talking about the one that wants to keep you trapped here, right? And that's why we shouldn't worship Jesus Christ and different things like that, because Jesus Christ is with that whole energy, trying to keep you trapped here, right? Like I tell people all the time, you go to church every Sunday and you do cannibalism. You eat Jesus' body and drink his blood, right? And nobody thinks about it. Puts you into a spell over and over and over every first Sunday, right? So that Jesus stuff is just as worse. So the Demiurge itself wanted to create this thing so it can continue to exist and feed off of our energy, right? Feed off of our energy. But this thing here, it has to end. But the truth is, it kind of will never end because a lot of people down here will always be stuck in this matrix. Some of us will eventually go back home, but some of us gonna keep getting recycled over and over and over, which goes a lot into what they're trying to do now. They're talking about there's a lot of TV shows. I don't know if y'all noticed. Just watching this TV show named Preacher. If anybody never watched Preacher, please watch it. Preacher is talking about they taking people's souls and putting them into little vials, right? They giving them a jab, a shot, and taking their souls and putting it into vials, man. This stuff blew my mind.
Wow.
And people was taking it and healing their bodies, right? This divine essence. They were sucking their souls out, and people was healing their bodies from it. The elite, let's just say. So if y'all get a chance to watch Preacher, powerful TV show. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, this whole false reality was just created in a way so the Demiurge can continue to do what it wants to do. The gods that's down here, let's say Lord Heru, Lord Ganesha, these entities are just helping run the matrix. They're making sure things stay in order. They're aspects of the matrix. We can say Shango is fire. All these entities are connected to some aspect of nature or some aspect of the 5 elements to help kind of control this thing. But the whole thing is false. And like Dr. Blair said, this dimension is going to the 5th dimension. And that's 100% the truth. 100% the truth.
You know, a lot of people say that, you know, all that is the universal prime creator needs Earth to understand itself, because when you're all that is, you can't understand. Like in order to understand you's tall, you need to see somebody short. To understand hot, you need to see cold. To understand you're male, you see female. You know, you get the point. So when you say because the universal prime creator needed to understand itself, one, do you think the Demiurge or this entity would you say it did the dirty work for the universal prime creator? And the Titans wasn't even hip. Like the universal prime, like needs somebody to do the dirty work for him to understand.
You know, you never know. You never know what they have going on behind the scenes. You know, you never know. From the way the story goes, see, and that's why I like to get. You know, when you study the occult, there's sometimes when you gotta take your occult understanding to another level. Like I read books for years, y'all, for years, and then I started realizing I need to start dreaming. I need to start learning how to astral travel. I need to start learning how to get into these other dimensions and see how long I can stay there. And I've had some intense, incredible experiences. But when I did that, I would ask questions. Hey, what about such, such, and such? And sometimes it'll be, I've learned who to ask questions to. Sometimes you're dealing with an entity that don't know as much as you know. But sometimes you can get some good answers on what's going on and how to evolve yourself past that. Because I do think that the creator, you know, you never know. They probably had some secret thing going on, but at the same time, the Demiurge, from the way the story goes, it looks like he wanted to do his own thing, or it wanted to do its own thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a good question, man. We don't know, man. But the universal prime creator, I think, is all knowing, all understanding, and I think that it wanted to have fun. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I look at it. It wanted to have an experience, just like us saying, "Hey, man, you tried a new virtual reality game?" And you're like, "No, I never tried." Then you try, you're like, "I can't believe I got immersed this deep into something that's not even real."
Right.
That's kind of what they're doing down here to us now. They're creating a whole nother reality called virtual reality and trying to lock us deeper into the system, into the matrix.
Right.
So people got to pay attention when you see these movies that they're locking people's souls and stuff away, put them into a scan disc and stuff like this. Is sorcery, man. This is high level sorcery that they're doing, and we got to be very careful. We got to be very careful, man. Very careful.
Y'all hear what's going on, man. Y'all see how it's going down. Make sure you share this. My brother Yosef is getting it in. Get these numbers up. Share the video. Like the video so the algorithm could keep sharing it to people, family. I got a question. Before I say the question, yo, I had a spiritual experience when I was young and I'm trying to understand things. I remember I've never been a weed smoker because it's always been too strong for me. So I've been more over into the spirits, the drinks. One time I smoked weed, man, I was high. And I just started talking to myself or whoever. And I'm like, damn, what's the purpose? This and that. And this voice just came to me and said, nigga, you don't even exist. And back then I thought that was some cold-blooded shit. I was like, oh, that's fucked. Oh man. I'm like, nigga, you don't even exist. What are you talking about? What's the purpose?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to share that. But
right. Yeah.
Talking about Saturn, Saturn gets a horrible reputation. I always ask spiritual teachers that come on this show about Saturn, but you talked about Saturn. We hear about Kronos eating his children. you said that that's misinterpreted,
Mhm.
and that he did not eat his children, and that actually we was in the golden age when Saturn was ruling. So talk to me about Saturn and how that relates to us.
Yeah, so Saturn, like I said before, in astrology, a lot of people look at Saturn as, well, people who really understand astrology, they know that Saturn is a teacher. He come around every now and then in your chart. He checks on things. And the reason why I said what I said in that video is because when you understand the metaphysics behind stories, and that's why I love Brother Bobby. He was real big on mythology, and breaking down mythology and trying to understand it from a deeper level. And when you look at that story, Saturn is really he was the head honcho. He was the big dog. And we all know his son Jupiter, Zeus took over, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, Saturn, his energy was a deity that represented law and order, justice, infinity, karma, all this other stuff like that. So during that cycle, it wasn't about him consuming his children to eat them like the pictures will show you, with some grotesque pictures of him eating his children. But it was more or less trap these kids away until their time comes. And if we go through that every day in our life, you get a Saturn return every couple of years in your chart. And if your house not in order when Saturn come back, you're going to suffer some more. So he looked at it, that hardcore dad that's going to whoop your ass every chance he get. Oh, you didn't do what I say? No problem. He pulling his belt out. That's what it is. But the truth is, when you like my mother was a ass whooping champion. You understand? She will whoop your ass for everything. You understand? And she was the sweetest woman in the world. But she was raising 4 boys. You know what I mean? Yeah. 4 boys. My father was in and out of prison. So so at the same time, my mom was really strict on us. But and I said, like, man, my mom is so mean. But when I got older, I appreciated them ass whooping so much. You know what I mean? I appreciated mama being tough and hard on me when I evolved and I got older. It's the same thing with Saturn. You know what I mean? In some households, it's reversed. The father's the strict one. But in our case, that's what Saturn is. Saturn, that energy that's going to, and it's like I saw one of the brothers you was talking to in a past video talking about the Naga energy. He said that Saturn used to be our sun. That's a fact. That's 100% true. And that's what I'm saying. Saturn ruled in the golden age at one point. You know what I mean? He really ran stuff in the universe. And that Titan energy, this was his thing, or the king of the Titans, right? So at the same time, that's what it is with Saturn and us. We look at him as Satan, and some people will compare that to Satan. And in some cases, that could be true, but it depends on which level you understanding it from. What level you understand it from. Just like Lucifer. Lucifer is evil. It depends on what level you understand it from, right? Some people, Lucifer is the Satan that fell. Well, any person that knows basic metaphysics know that Saturn and Venus, which is Lucifer, is 2 separate entities. The devil is something totally different too. Anybody could be a devil, right? So we tie these things to one thing, and it's deeper than that. If you have a deeper metaphysical mind. So Saturn is just a teacher. That's how I look at Saturn. He's a teacher. His children, who carry a lot of Saturn energy in their chart, they tend to go through a lot of lessons in life harder than anybody else. They have a lot of trauma. They may have went through rape or molestation early in their life, and that's because Saturn's trying to get them out of that cycle. But sometimes as humans, we so hard-headed as humans, we don't learn unless we suffer, right? And suffering sometimes is the best teacher, because you get tired of suffering eventually. Eventually, you're going to get tired of getting a whooping. You said, man, let me just do the right thing. That's how it is with Saturn. So I love Saturn. I think Saturn is one of the best celestial objects in the sky. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with that at all. At all, brother.
So in terms of because you said something about Saturn being connected to the Titans. Am I correct? So what's the connection between, because there's a lot of planets, but what's the connection between Saturn? Why does Saturn have a connection with the Titans?
Well, it's just more of a title, a name. That Saturn energy has connection to the Titans because those Titans come from the ancient age, the first age. You know what I mean? The universe that came. Like if you study the mythology, then you find out that Zeus and them, they came around the time when man was created. So when man wasn't really formed or full until Zeus them came around and started doing certain things. They took the ashes of the Titans and created man and blah, blah, blah. So when Saturn them was present, the Titans, that's what it was. So they had to lock away the Titans. But at the same time, Saturn is the one that's allowed to come over here because Saturn helps control the illusion. They needed Saturn's energy to help control the illusion down here. because time is an illusion. Time doesn't exist. We think that time is real, right? Time is not real at all. So Saturn is kind of in control of that time thing because he looked at as evil, but he's not. So yeah, he's connected to the Titans, but at the same time, he's one of those energies that's allowed to be here by some divine will of the creator. He has a really intense energy effect in our life, in our house, in our chart. And he's allowed to help control time and justice and law and order in the system.
What you thought of, what you thought about? Did you see Loki? The series Loki.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
What you thought about what they was talking about with the Time Lords and all?
Oh man, I thought that was so incredible, man. Once again, that Saturn energy, and I really believe in that. You know, it's funny because you know, we talk about this stuff, we see it, and these people doing movies about it over and over and over. You know what I mean? And some of us don't get it. Yes, the term Time Lord wasn't used, but these keepers of time, right? And these people was making sure that the stream didn't get out of control. Well, it's the same thing metaphysically, right? Same thing, just like when the keepers of knowledge that exist in the astral plane, that anybody has ever been to the Akashic records, you'll see these entities that kind of guard it to a certain extent. And there are different types of Akashic records, right? So yes, these Time Lords, I thought that was so dope in that movie, man. It took me forever to watch it in that TV show. But I thought it was so dope, man, those Time Lords, man. And I thought that finally they're telling the truth on a lot of things, you know. Even with I'm hearing now that Google is coming out with a time crystal. They don't start playing with some stuff and a time crystal's coming out. And they're not really revealing what it is. But just a few months ago on my channel, I said, hey, y'all, they got these quantum computers. They better start time traveling. And these quantum computers, if you study them, they're time travel, right? They're time travel. They can time travel. They can pull stuff from a whole nother dimension and bring it here. Super, super powerful. The reason why they haven't really hit the scene yet is because they're trying to find a way to control it more so you don't have access to the wrong thing. Right. They're putting some powerful stuff in your hand. So yeah, brother.
There's a big debate about for years. I mean, people are obsessed with this flat earth thing. Does the ancient text mention anything about a flat earth or a round earth or anything like that?
Yeah, even in the Bible, for people who read the Bible, they'll talk about the earth. When you read it, talking about the four corners of the earth. You know, they'll talk about the what do you call it? The in the sky. I forgot what they call it. I want to say the remnant, but it's not called the remnant. It's called something else. But they'll talk about, look at the world as some type of disc or something like that. You know, that's funny. That's a crazy topic, man, because a lot of people, you know, we believe anything that people say. We don't know what the hell's out there, you know, unless you have the ability to experience it, you know. But yes, there's some ancient Hebrew texts that show the world as the firmament. That's what I'm trying to say, the firmament. They'll show the firmament of the heaven like a dome, right? Like a dome. And I'm one of them people that believe that we do live on a disc. I'm not afraid to share. Like I said, I don't mind getting spooky, brother. So I'm one of the people that believe we on a disc. And also, I don't believe that the space out there exists like they say it exists. I believe that's all a hologram, brother. And I believe that stuff does exist, but it exists in the fourth dimension. I believe it exists in the fourth dimension. And I believe that a lot of the stuff that we deal with is here. Dr. Blair said something very powerful years ago. He said, how come when they go out in space, they can't find the sun?
Right.
You know, I never forgot he said that. And I say, that's a good point. That's a good point. The closer you get to the sun, everything should be burning up. Right. But it gets colder when you go out there. What's going on? Something is false. And like I said earlier, it goes back into that black sun, or what they call Amun-Ra, the hidden god, that black sun that goes into the true sun, right? And that yellow sun is a false sun, right? It's just an emission of what's coming out of that black hole, that dark sun. So yeah, sun. That's what I look at.
Is there a name? Is just called the black sun, or is there a name?
You can call it Da'at. In the Kabbalah, they call it Da'at. They also call it in my opinion, is also considered Lucifer. The brother, he talks about it in his book how that Da'at energy is also Lucifer, right? It's a gateway to the other universe, the other side, the spiritual world. So they have different names for it. Da'at, Lucifer, and it's another name here he calls it. But yeah, it's just a gateway. It's just a gateway.
So the information that we get when we sun gaze, we're getting information straight from that black sun.
Yes. But it's look at it, it's saturated down. It's saturated to be so that you can handle it down here. It's saturated. But the energy that we see as a big ball of light is actually coming from a black hole behind it. It's coming from a different aspect of the sun. And the Egyptians knew about it. They called it Amun. They called it the hidden God. You know what I mean? So yeah. And you can also look at that as the like a lot of metaphysical teachers talk about the third eye, right? That hidden, you have these two eyes which represent your conscious eyes, and your subconscious eye being the third eye, that black spot in the middle of your forehead. You know what I mean? That takes you to what? The spirit world. You know what I mean? And it becomes enlightened at one point. It becomes enlightened, or the enlightened one. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Indeed, yo. I also I'm just rehashing a lot of things I've heard you say in your videos, so the people can hear them as well, because I think it's quite interesting. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Get them likes up. We got about 1,100 people in the chat right now. Make sure y'all get them likes up. I don't know what. Let me see where we at right now, because we got 511 likes, man. We should have. That means half of y'all don't like this. Is that what that means? Or y'all just forgot to hit the like button? Make sure y'all hit the like, family. But I appreciate y'all for watching this. We're having a good time dealing with some ancient knowledge tonight. I got a new brother Yosef. Before we continue, brother, because sometimes people be in and out. Give them your website and your YouTube channels.
Yeah, so I'm considered I'm brother Yosef. My Instagram is excuse me, I'll be on Instagram every now and then, but my YouTube is New Life Tools, NU space LYFE space tools. You can hit me up if you want to email me, newlifetools@gmail.com. And my website is New Life Tools, newlifetools.com. So yeah, you can hit me up at either one.
Indeed. So all right. So the last thing we talked about, or you talked about, was space is like a hologram. So if space is a hologram, what's this space race about? This billionaire space race, and they want to take people out into outer space. What's all that about?
Yeah, so what that's about, brother, is that the planet is going to the fourth dimension. We're going to a higher vibrational world. Eventually, the firmament of the heavens, and a lot of people talk about it, how this quarantine eventually is going to lift. What that means is that we're going to lift out of the third dimension to a certain extent. And the fourth dimension is still considered a lower world. We're still considered, like I tell people, you're not even really considered spirit world until you get to the fifth dimension. But what's going to happen is these people finally know they have the okay to go higher into the heavens. So they're going to take people to the moon and stuff like that, which is still inside the firmament. But eventually we'll be into the fourth dimension. And as the vibrations change, that whole quarantine will be lifted. And we'll be in the fourth dimension, and we'll have access to extraterrestrials and stuff like that we never used to usually see. People out the corner of your eye, the shadow people. And that's why now I've been saying since the beginning of my channel, UFOs is real, extraterrestrials are real, and now
that was going to be the next question.
Yeah, that's what now. If people pay attention, the government is revealing that all over the world, over the world. They finally coming out little by little and telling people the truth. Well, people got to use common sense. If these people are starting to admit something that they wouldn't even admit before, that a UFO is real, then we got to use our common sense to say, well, maybe there's more to the story, and stop waiting for them to tell us things, right? And a lot of people I know personally have had, including myself, has had interactions with extraterrestrials. Like me and my wife, it's funny because years ago, my wife used to make fun of me, right? Because I say, honey, I'm seeing UFOs, baby. This is when I first started waking up. Like I used to have a ship that used to follow me, literally. So I started going out to this little field in my city, and I would go out to the sky late at night, sit on my car, and I would call UFOs out the sky. I would literally just talk to the sky, and they would come out. They would do tricks for me, loops, and they would go into the sky. So I'll never forget, brother, we went to go see the movie Thor. This had to be like 2011 when the movie Thor first came out. And I told him it was a freezing cold night, and I said, babe, let me pull over and show you this UFO. She's like, I don't believe in all that stuff, and that can't be real. I said, just give me a chance. So we pulled over, and I look in the sky. I'm looking like an idiot. Nothing's happening. So all of a sudden, I put my coat around my wife, and I said, hey, I know y'all out there. Can y'all please show me yourself, because my wife is cold and she want to go home. As soon as I said that we're home, a big white light came out of the sky. It looped in the sky and went back into space. And from that day, me and my wife together has witnessed an orange UFO that constantly follows me. One time it came down to the stoplight, and everybody's sitting there looking ahead like they don't see it, and we tripping. We in the car, oh my God, da, da, da. And it just went back into space. So it's time, family. We're going into deeper into the fourth dimension. The vibrations are changing, and now we're ascending. And eventually we'll get to the fifth dimension. But we're ascending to the fourth dimension, and they're trying to lock you down with everything they can right now, so you can't ascend. They don't want you to get to that vibration. They want you to stay on the lower third dimensional vibration. So yes, we're going to interact with all that stuff. Entities, everything you think is fake, that's on cartoons and TV, it's all about to come real. It's just a matter of time. Laugh now, cry later. That's what I tell people.
I mean, yeah, heavy stuff. Yeah, like even when we talked earlier about dragons, you know, everybody asks, people just say, what they're talking. A lot of people would say they're just talking about the Kundalini energy when they mention dragons. So people don't even think, you know what I'm saying?
No, sir. They are very real. There's tons of books where people talk about sightings of dragons. It's not a coincidence where that the Chinese are so heavy dealing with dragons. There's dragons in Africa. If people do their research, that there's different tribes that talk about themselves seeing dragons, like I think it's called the Shagan tribe in Africa, South Africa. They talk about a great serpent, a great dragon. That's the tribe always talks about. The Dogons talk about dragons, right? But we don't live in a vibration right now where dragons could be present all the time. We're coming to that point, but we're not on a vibration right now where dragons are always present, but they can be present whenever they want. You know what I mean? Whenever they want. So it's just a matter of time. We're going to see all that stuff. That's a fact.
Listen, I want to thank everybody for hitting up the Cash App. I appreciate it. If y'all like this broadcast, hard to find two melanated brothers on YouTube talking this type of talk on a Thursday night casually. You know what I'm saying? So this is something special right here. Show support, hit the Cash App. What you got a Cash App, Brother Yosef? Cash App, $, BRO. YOSEF, Bro Yosef, $, Bro Yosef. Let me put this whole up. Give me a second.
Capital BRO, capital B, lowercase RO, capital Y, lowercase SOEF.
Yeah, I just put the brother's Cash App. It's capital B and capital Y, Bro Yosef. Make sure you support the brother too, man. You know, I mean, this is, you know, in an era where it's filled with distractions, this type of information is priceless. Let me ask you, we're talking about magic, we're talking about demons, we're talking about universal prime creator. When people think about humans doing magic and voodoo and things like that, a lot of people think about Haiti. Now, Haiti just got hit with another earthquake. A lot of people are saying, yo, why does Haiti keep getting messed up with these earthquakes, with that? A lot of people would say, yo, they keep messing with that stuff. You know, you got to stay away from that. What's your thoughts on Haiti and why it keeps getting hit by earthquakes and natural disasters and stuff?
Well, I think it goes back to an old war that happened in Haiti. Everybody knows about that. And I think that the spirits are allowing, in my opinion, the spirits are allowing the Haitians a lot to get hit right now because they have lost their way. The majority of Haiti is Christians. A lot of them deal with Christianity. They don't get into the voodoo stuff. They don't get into the magic stuff as much no more. They're Catholics. They're Christians. You know, it's the same thing in Africa. Africa will be a lot more powerful if people would not have lost their way and got into Christianity and Islam, stuff like that. If you get into the mystic aspects of that, the real spiritual aspect, then there's power behind that. We all know about the brother Simeon Toko, who looked at himself as a Christian. But Simeon Toko used to get down with the magic. He was what they call the Obia man, right? He used to get down with the Obia, and he was doing what they call like some miracle stuff. So I think that Haiti, they wouldn't be getting hit so hard if that powerful country whose ancestors are magical, if they got down to the magic once more and fought back the whole country, then I think that you wouldn't see all this stuff happening. So I think that this is a wake-up call to Haiti. Get back into your voodoo. Y'all know what y'all did with that stuff before in the past. Y'all know what y'all was able to do. Y'all did stuff that nobody else did. Y'all won with magic. Go back to that. Why are you guys Christians and Catholics right now? I've never met I met Haitians. I know a lot of Haitian people, and I met some Haitian people that are, you know, their whole family's Catholic or Christians, right? But they'll say, I got an auntie that get down with that stuff or an uncle that get down with that stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think they need to get back into that even deeper you know, in my opinion, the most powerful form of magic on the earth to me is Obia, right? Obia is it's the most powerful sorcery on the planet, right? The
What's that?
Obia man is hard to
What's
stop. Hard.
obia? What's that? Obia.
Obia is it's more of a, I would say it's alchemy. It's real alchemy. It's one of the last few systems on earth that, if you want to deal with alchemy, alchemy is a hidden science, right? And this is something I tell people a lot. A lot of people say, well, Brother Yosef, give me a deeper book on this, a deeper book on that. And I got to tell people, like, look, the most deepest knowledge is never going to be put in a book. It's called word to mouth, oral traditions. Oral traditions passed down. So, prime example, if you want to get the deepest part of voodoo, you're not going to find it in a book. You're going to have to go to the people that get down with voodoo and get oral traditions. Go talk to the high priest and get them oral traditions and learn the real magic that they can't put in books. It's against the laws. So Obia is alchemy. It's a true alchemist. And these alchemists are one of the few, I would say it's one of the few systems that's open to alchemy. It's a lot of forms of alchemy that you can actually learn through Obia. It's alchemy. And a Obia person could take Obia and tap into any form of magic they want to tap into. You can't do that with all types of magic. You can't mix some type of magics. But an Obia man or woman can mix voodoo with Wicca. They could mix, you know. So when you're dealing with Marie Laveau, one of the biggest secrets about Marie Laveau, the reason why she was so powerful, was that Marie Laveau was an Obia woman. She knew Obia. So she wasn't just a voodoo woman. She was the baddest voodoo woman, right? And that went for, I think, her niece too. Her niece, I think, was also called Marie Laveau. So at the end of the day, Obia, in my opinion, the Haitians need to get back to their Obia, which does exist over there, and also their to get back to their voodoo, get back to their ancient ancestral sciences, so they can get down for real, for real. I know magic works, right? I've had experiences. I protected myself, protected my family. I've gotten things that I wanted. It's all about your heart, family. If your heart is right, look, you can see a dragon. I'm still working on seeing a dragon in the physical. I wouldn't lie to nobody. I don't lie about my magic. I have not seen a dragon in the physical realm. I've seen them in the spirit realm many times, right? In my dreams and stuff like that. But I'm working on it. Believe that. You know what I'm saying? Believe that. You can't convince me, because I've manifested other things into the physical. I've seen real demons in the physical. Like I've done the rituals and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, me manifesting something, that doesn't help me evolve. So my main focus of magic is, what can I do to evolve myself? It's evolution. And that's why a lot of, you know, it's funny, brother, on my YouTube channel, some of the worst people I come across was the vegans. I got nothing against being a vegan vegetarian, but man, one day they attacked me so bad, man. I mean, they talking about they going to rape me and everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, bro, I had vegan people telling me the worst. Look, I don't went up against other magic people arguing with me. People call, you know, racist people. I never got attacked by some, you know what I'm saying? Because I guess they don't like the fact that I'm a big guy. How in the world can you teach spirituality? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, y'all never heard of Brother Bobby and all this other stuff? So I don't know, man. That was crazy.
So let me ask you, what do you, I mean, that brings up an interesting point. People consider our body to be electric. So in order, when you eat electric food, that's when you become enlightened, because you ate a banana, an apple, and you're drinking water and you're hydrated. So when they see somebody like you, they're like, oh, this dude he's not electrical. So what would be your response to that type of mind frame from a vegan?
Well, you know, I tell people, first of all, veganism, I think that everybody should practice that. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the end all be all, but if a person want to be a vegan, it will make you be healthy. That's a fact, you know. I would never deny that being a vegan is going, you know, you won't be healthy. But I think that I know that you do gain light from being a vegan, but we got to understand it's physical light. So your life force is increased, which does give you mental clarity. It does help your skin become more clear and stuff like that. So it helps you live longer, right? That's all that these things are going to do for you, right? But when you're doing spiritual exercise and you're exercising your soul, right? You're getting into the spiritual. I put out something called mudra class, and you do these certain mudras that exercises energy signatures in your body, and you do yoga and stuff like that, and other type of spiritual practices. You're working on your spiritual energy. So you could be, I wouldn't tell anybody to be 500 pounds, but you could be working on your spiritual body and not be as healthy in your physical body, be extremely powerful. People see these voodoo people that practice voodoo, they smoke cigarettes and everything.
All the time.
But they will put it on your ass.
All the
You understand?
time. Cigars,
They smoke
cigarettes.
cigars.
They drink alcohol.
Drink alcohol. But it's about your spiritual energy. That's what it's about. And eating a vegetable is not going to build your spiritual energy. It's just impossible. It will build your life force, your chi. And you can, if you're smart, you can use that for magical practices. But it's about doing real spiritual exercise to get that spiritual energy. That's what it's about.
So would you agree people get possessed? They say alcohol, the spirits possess you. That's why it's called spirits. Is that spirit possession when a person gets drunk and they black out?
I would definitely say that when they call alcohol spirits. And I can see aura. I'm one of the people, I can see spirits every day, brother. To this day, I got something weird that happened across the street from my house. Whenever I leave my driveway, anybody ever see X-Men Days of Future Past when the Sentinels came? They was all silver faced. I see entity like that constantly peek from behind a tree across the street from my house every day. It used to bother me, but I can see this stuff. So when we're dealing with what was the question you just asked, brother?
Shit, what did I just ask you? Not about the veganism. I just forgot what, because we were talking about veganism, and I asked about the light body. What was the last question I asked him, family? What was the last?
I get out of my mind sometimes.
Yeah, we both do. So many downloads coming at one time. Oh, the alcohol. I was saying, do you think you get possessed by alcohol when you black out and you're drunk? Yeah.
Yeah, so what I could do is when I see people get really drunk, I can see their aura starts to get deformed. I can literally see it. It starts to get holes, right? So there's nothing wrong with drinking, but yes, alcohol, spirits, because they do attract spirits to you because you get holes in your aura. If you drink too much and you drink on a daily basis, it does damage to your life force. Your life force connects to your aura. Your aura will get holes in it. And now you got these attaching spirits and these ghosts coming on you all, you know.
Where they coming through the chakras, these spirits?
They're coming through the holes in the aura.
Okay.
So the holes in the aura literally gets holes in it, and these things funnel right in. They funnel right in your aura. And the first thing that happens is you feel drained. I used to work security at a hospital years ago, and we used to go up to the psych ward, man. I used to see some of the craziest stuff in the world. Pac-Man heads talking to people. It made me feel crazy. I had to stop going up there, man, because people not lying when they got mental problems. They got these energies on them and they can't get it off of them. So the first thing that starts to happen is you feel drained. That's why I recommend everybody take a spiritual bath at least once a week if you work in certain locations. Take a spiritual bath and clean your aura. The next thing that starts to happen is once it gets in your aura so far, you start to have psychological problems. You know, you'll have anxiety attacks out of nowhere. You'll have depression, and you don't know why. You know, now sometimes this stuff can come from trauma in your past, but I'm talking about if you've been cool for your whole life and all of a sudden you start having these issues, most likely you got some type of ghost attached to you in your aura.
Deep, brother, deep. Yo, I heard you say something interesting. You talking about seeing these things. You said you met an entity called music. What we consider music, you said you actually met that entity.
Yes.
You got to explain that one, brother. How do you meet the entity music that we all love so much?
Yes. So pretty much what happened was, you know, for me, at least twice a month, I have what they call an astral projection experience where I leave my body, but I can go around the physical world. I don't see a lot of incredible stuff. But most times I just have I astral travel. I have astral traveling experiences. So this particular night, I fell asleep and I opened my eyes and I'm fully conscious. But I got a coat on and I had some pants and I'm sitting at a bar. Well, it looked like a bar. I don't know what this area was. It was the most. It's like it's never been built down here before, but it had a vibe of like a bar. Anybody who knows me know I don't hang in bars. I don't know what I was doing there. So I'm sitting there and I got this cup in my hand and I noticed how conscious I was. I'm listening to the music. I'm fully conscious. I'm conscious of the people sitting behind me. And I'm conscious of this cup in my hand to the point where I understand what's in this cup and why I'm going to, it was the weirdest thing ever. So I'm listening to the music. And as I'm listening to the music, you know, I couldn't help. It's brother, listen, man, this music was soul music times 1200. I can't understand. It can't be. I don't think it could be created down here yet.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting here
was
like, oh
different
my God.
instruments. It was different instruments.
Yeah, it was. They definitely had instruments I never saw before. One of the guys was playing something that looked like a guitar. This other guy looked like he was just pushing something in the air, like he was pushing something in the air. And I'm like, what is that? Like, what's going on here? And the other guy was like moving his hands, and it was the craziest thing. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, man, this music is making me move, and I can't help myself. And I stood up and I started dancing, right? And I'm not a dancer at all. I'm not really, but I couldn't help myself, brother. The music was like one of them things when you hear your dopest verse, and you're like, oh my God, that was crazy. That's how it was, man. So I'm listening and I'm sitting there and I'm dancing, and everybody, they not paying me attention at first. But I'm sitting around and I'm looking at people, and eventually people start looking at me, clapping their hands, like, look at this guy, almost like I was a little baby, I didn't think about it like that till I came out of it. Like, these people treat me like a little kid. So as I'm dancing, I could see the literally reality started to form into like a form of like a person. And out of the music itself, I saw a vibration, and this thing walked out of it, and it started dancing just like me. And I'm like, man, this is crazy, but man, I'm vibing with this thing. All of a sudden, it reached out its hand and it touched my face. And when it touched my face, I said, I jumped back, almost like if Michael Jackson touched your face. But when it touched my face, I realized who it was. It was music itself. And when it was dancing with me, it was almost dancing with me like, go ahead, little baby, you little dude, And now I woke up, I said, man, I feel like an idiot dancing, but it was treating me like I was pure-hearted. That's really what I'm trying to say. It was treating me like a pure-hearted being, like, oh, you want to dance? Go ahead. And it touched my face, and I woke up. But I realized, oh my God, it was music. And it was one of the most incredible experiences I ever had, brother. Incredible.
That story is incredible, man. As a lover of music, man, that's an amazing experience to have right there, brother.
Yes, man.
Truly amazing.
I hope to God that music comes down here one day, or we listen to it, man. I'm telling you, there's colors I've seen, brother, that don't exist down here yet. There's music I've heard R. Kelly and Jay-Z song that never came down here. And I'm thinking like maybe this is floating in the atmosphere. I heard a Jodeci song that would never came down here.
That didn't make it down here yet.
Never made it down here. I've heard songs like that, man. So it's amazing. I think that when we do music, if we get in the right mind frame, we channel this stuff down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
We channel this stuff down, man. Powerful.
Yeah, definitely, man. Wow, that's woo! Y'all hear that in the live? That's a powerful experience. Powerful experience. Yeah. You know what I want to ask? We could say this is a video game, this is a movie, and we're characters in this video game. So my character, I'm from New York. I got this experience being what we call a Black person in America. It's a very unique experience, and it's traumatizing for a lot of people to be Black in this country, and just the American experience. What I want to know is, spiritually speaking, what entity got a vendetta against niggas? Because goddamn, niggas get whooped all over this world. Every country you go in, the niggas get whooped somewhere, discriminated, brutalized, murdered. I mean, Africa is just decimated. Europe, they get treated like shit. When COVID was going, they was kicking the Africans out of Europe. I mean, America, you know what happened in America. You know that story. So they're saying that the people that control the world are controlled by other entities. Who the hell got a vendetta against us, and why, my brother? Right.
Well, I always tell people that without a shadow of a doubt, we were created by what people call the Anunnaki, right? And the Anunnaki, to a degree, are lower level ultraviolets, right? They have access to, if you study the Anunnaki, you really understand them. They're not really gods. They deem themselves as gods, but they're really high level scientists. They're scientists that can pretty much create anything. So if we saw one of their ships today, we would think that it's something spiritual, but it's actually just a piece of technology that's really advanced. So when you break it down, the Anunnaki, they control this dimension. That's why I always tell people, sometimes we gotta get past the fact that it's just white folk messing us up. They controlled by somebody else too.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this thing goes deep. You're dealing with draconian energy. And when you understand the story of Enki, and I knew his father, and they had a child named Enki who was half draconian. you know, and then they created humans, right? They created man. We have that draconian energy, which is dragon energy. The draconians they come from that dragon lineage. That's why they're so powerful. They're the only ones in the universe that can really match the Anunnaki, right? And this is something that's a fact. It's all over the countries. You see people with lizard faces, different parts of the country. Credo Mutro, the shaman, used to talk about being abducted by the African shaman from the Zulu clans, to talk about being abducted by the Draconians. So at the end of the day, these entities, who I call Satan, that's really what they are. They broke away from Enki and they came down here, and these became what you call the Satanists, the ones that went against the Most High, you know. And Enki could be connected to El, you know, the Elroy, not Elroy, but El and Yahweh. He could be connected to them. And later on in history, you could, dealing with the Canaanite energy, you could find out that El and Yahweh kind of was combined and became. You guys can get this book here called The Early History of God, Yahweh and Other Deities in Ancient Israel. You know, pretty good book by Mark S. Smith. You know what I mean? They go into that. They go into how Yahweh and the history of the Israelites, and how in Canaanite they really got that title, they really got that energy. And how Yahweh was a god of war. You know, he wanted blood on the altar, heads, blood everywhere, you know. But he had a group of his people that broke away and became the Satanists, and they work against him. So they're allowed to do what they're doing here. So it's not so much that, let's just say they look at us as their property, and we are. Your physical body is property of the Anunnaki. But we got to stop getting caught up on our physical body, because it ain't sure you gonna live one life in that body and you gone. And if you didn't do what you need to do, you coming back to another body. You're gonna keep getting stuck in this cycle over and over. But your soul is what's real, and your soul is what you got to get, what you got to work on. That's the secret. They want you to focus on your body and focus on, and Black people, we got to understand that. We got to get out the idea of Jesus, 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 and what people doing to us, and because we have all the power inside of us to rise up and become whoever we want to be, right? And then the racist thing, the racism thing is another trick that they do, because they divide and conquer. They keep everybody separate, and they bring people together. Because I got to be honest, brother, I've been on higher dimensions and realms. I've seen people that look Asian, people that look white, people that look Black. You know, so we got to stop as Black people. We can't be victims no more. We got to tap into our power. Anything that Brother Yosef want, I manifest it, because I have the ability through my soul and magic to manifest it. Magicians in this world, we're nothing but hackers. We hack into the magic. That's why they don't like magic. They don't want you to learn the magic. That's why dragon energy is, there's certain types of magic on this planet that's so hard to find information. Dragon information is hard to find because they don't want you to know about it. But some of the most powerful families are called dragons, right? And they know about it, right? So even when you're dealing with Lucifer, there's so much information you're going to get on Lucifer. And people misconstrue that sometimes. So that's when you got to take the book knowledge and say, okay, I see what's going on. You either got to get into one of these mystery schools and learn knowledge, or you got to be able to tap into the higher realms and bring that down. So yes, it seems like us as a people down here, we're getting our asses kicked all the time. But the truth is, we don't have to be like that. Like they say, the Moors ruled for 700 years. Egyptians ruled for 40,000. So this only been going on for a couple years. It's a small little intermission. We got to just tap into our true self and our magic and our power, and we can evolve right past this. Because I've gotten out of the mindset that these people messing with me. No, I'm just focused on my spirituality, and I'm getting the hell off this planet. That's the goal. That's the goal. And anybody want to come with me, I help them. That's how I look at it, brother.
Man, that's deep. So why do you think you know, you having so much contact with the spirit realm? Why do you think you came to this realm in this lifetime?
Well, what I've actually learned, brother, believe it or not, is that over the years I found out that the entity that touched my hand years ago was the god Lord Indra. And for those who don't know who Indra is, he's a Hindu god who's considered the king of the gods, and it's a whole bunch of stories dealing with him, depending on if you're dealing with the Vedic mythology or the Hindu mythology. But I've had a lot of contact with this entity. I didn't think this stuff was real, man. I didn't think that you could talk to a god that easily. So over time, what I learned is that I'm sent here. I am him. That's what I've learned. So we're all gods, bro. So it's deeper than us calling ourselves gods. We got to figure out what gods we are. We gotta go with that vibe, that feeling when we work with our altars. Why do I have a vibe with this God? You know, the first God I ever worked with was the god Anubis. And I had a cousin who was mentally handicapped and he died. And I had just got out of church, brother. So I didn't know who to pray to. I'm confused, but I had just got a statue of Anubis in the mail. And I prayed and cried, brother, that night with all my heart, because I kept having a dream that this entity kept killing him because he died of a heart attack. So I had a dream this thing kept stabbing him in the heart. So he was reliving his death over and over, and I couldn't do nothing. In a dream, I kept trying to fight this thing. I didn't know magic back then. So I prayed to Anubis, bro. I prayed and cried, snot coming from my nose. And bro, the next night, my cousin came to me in a dream and said, thank you. And he was holding a little boy in his arms. And I said, who's this little boy? Like he was mentally handicapped. So he talked like he was 14, but he was like 45 years old. So he was holding a little boy. And I said, who's this little boy? He said, oh, this is my son. He gonna be my son in the next life. He said, I got a chance to meet him down here. And I'm like, bro, I just lost it. I'm like, oh my, you know. So when I woke up, I think the Anubis, not that at that point, you couldn't convince me that the God's that's all I needed, bro, to make it to the, because at that point I was struggling with my family would tell me, boy, you going to hell for all this stuff you're doing and you worshiping the wrong thing, you know. And I would go through this moment where when I went through that moment with Anubis, it really took me to another level to believe that there's other gods that would help me. So I always tell the people, if you're going to have an altar in your house, you're dealing with these deities, be sincere. Don't only go to them when you need money and you need healing or you need help. They ain't stupid. Just because you see a statue, they can sense, like, if you joking with them. I think that's what happened to me, brother. I just I got so good at being sincere with the spirit world and the gods until they opened the door for me. You know, I'm not worried about if something fake or not fake or real. I'm just, in my heart as a child, I'm going to be sincere and it's going to manifest, and it always has. It always has, brother.
That's, you know, I started out the video, I said there was something about your heart energy. That's what made me reach out to you. It wasn't just the intellect. There's a lot of people out here that read books, they got photographic memory and they can recite what they read, but there was something about your heart energy. And I haven't seen that in a while in the speaker. So that's why I was like, damn, I got to reach out to this brother. There's something different about that brother right there. So it's interesting. I see the same thing in you that the spirit's seeing you. So
thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
That heart shit is real with you, brother.
Yes. Be sincere, family. Be sincere.
Yeah. Talk to me about what do you think about, you mentioned altars. Are you big on animal sacrifice or leaving food on the altar, leaving different, like, talk to me about that. People saying you got blood, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that animal sacrifice is necessary sometimes because that's what the God wants. That usually an animal sacrifice is used as the earth element. You know, I tell people all the time, it's very easy to manifest stuff into the physical world. It never fails me. It's going to manifest eventually. All you got to do is attach what you're doing to an earth element. But you got to attach it to the right earth element. If you pull it, the earth element will make it heavy and it will pull it down. So when you're doing a big ceremony, let's say to Ogun, right? So you're doing a ceremony to Ogun. Yeah, if you really want something from Ogun, he wants a dog. He wants a blood sacrifice. Now, it doesn't always have to be a blood sacrifice to Ogun. But in those communities, people see the pictures. They cutting off dog's head and using dog's blood because that attaches to the god of iron over there, Ogun. It attaches to him. So in some ways, yes, animal sacrifices are necessary. I've done animal sacrifices before. I'm just gonna keep it real. You know what I'm saying? So that's necessary. But when a person's starting out in magic, it's best that you have an altar and you pretty much work with your ancestors first, because your ancestors are your DNA. They are your data. All the data from the past is in your DNA. Those are your ancestors. So if you build them up, they're going to build you up. Now, we got to get past the idea that, well, my ancestors got me. Some of our ancestors was Christians. We got to keep it real. They didn't know no magic, you know what I mean? Unless we're talking about thousands of generations ago, when we was back in Africa, some of them knew some magic, right? So a lot of my ancestors, as far as I know, they need help. So I put them on an altar and I helped them, feed them food, water, and I helped them, right? And I remember one time I went to a what do you call this church? It's called a spiritualist church. They invited me, and they're mediums and they read dead people and all this stuff. And when I walked in there, the lady called me right up in the church and said, "Hey, I don't know who you are, but you got a bunch of people around you, and they shielding you." And I never forget this lady, her skin was blue. Her skin was blue because she must have took some bad colloidal silver or something, you know. I don't know, man. You know, people skin turn blue, you know, that's how they scare you away from colloidal silver. But her skin was blue, bro. And she told me, you have all these people. That's when I knew that this stuff was real, man. I said, yo, people who could see, she could have told me anything in the world. Brother, I see money coming to you, bunch of women. No, she said, you got a bunch of dead people around you, and they protecting you. And because I was heavy with my ancestor work at that time. And I was working with the Baron real heavy at that time too. So yeah, man, I do believe that it's a time for animal sacrifice, depending on what it is. And it's a time where you just need to do basic offerings to your ancestors and to the gods. Because sometimes the gods don't want all that stuff. They just want they don't want a relationship. They want somebody to talk to. They want to understand that a human who are like ants to them, you know, they can kill us with a thought. They want to look at us like, I can't believe that this entity is reaching out to me like that and trying to make a connection. They love stuff like that. So that's what I would say.
I had this sister one time. Shit, I probably was about 24 years old or whatever, and I was vending. I used to be a street vendor. I used to have the DVDs of the lectures. Like I would, you know, get some of Sarnetta's videos. I would film Dr. Blair when he come to New York, Bobby when he come to New York. Shout out to Brother Shabazz, by the way. He would allow me to film for him in LIU University. But the sister came up to me one day outside. She was like, you got a lot of snakes around your head. Scared the shit out of me. She was like, oh, but they're good snakes. Don't worry. So have you ever seen, I know you see a lot of things. Have you ever seen anything like that or know what that might?
Absolutely. Be? Absolutely. There's a snake that's around me all the time. And when I learned is that it's my animal spirit. So I have two animal spirits. I have a snake and a deer. The deers, I see them all the time. When I see a deer, I know I'm on the right spiritual path, and I know the spirit is going to deal with me heavy that day when I see a deer. Like I'll make a decision. Like I live in upstate New York. There's a lot of deers up here. So you may go 5 weeks and not see one deer. So all of a sudden I have something I'm really thinking about, like, man, I'm trying to make a deep decision. And then I'll say, well, what if I did it this way? Then I'll see a deer or a deer run past my car. And I say, okay, I know what that means. And I'll make that decision. And when I sleep at night, sometimes there's a snake. Sometimes it changes sizes, but it's always a brown and black snake. And it bites me a lot. And it bites me so much to the point where now I don't feel it no more. But it used to terrify me. You know, I remember one time I was flying in the sky in my dreams, and I turned to the left, and there was a snake flying right next to me. He bit me right in the arm. And I've learned over time that he's trying to warn me. You know, he spoke to me one time. He's like, hey, I'm just trying to warn you, man. Don't be so scared. I'm trying to warn you. That's how I warn you. When I see a deer in my dreams, it's always peaceful and nice, but a snake is always biting me, bro. So as soon as I see one, I try to run or go somewhere, but that thing always catch up with me, bite me right in the hand. So I think that what that is, brothers, you have your animal spirit is a snake, which would deal with wisdom and knowledge. And, you know, a lot of secret societies and cultures deal with that snake, which also goes into the dragon, You know, I mean, that's why I tell people also rappers that can rap good and, you know, they can like Twister, they can say things, you know, they can rap real good without even getting tongue tied. That's a dragon energy.
Like Busta
They have
Rhymes.
a high level conscience. Dragons are good at riddles. Right? So that's very powerful. Shit, Busta Rhymes look like a dragon. You know what I'm saying? So it's some powerful stuff, man. We don't know who we are. We are beyond, and we gotta just get to the point. We gotta stop saying it. We gotta start practicing it. I'm practicing to be a god. I want to levitate one day. You know, and it's things that I've learned over time spiritually that I'll never talk about because I know it'll put me on the wrong radar. You know what I mean? But I'm telling people the spirit is real. The spirit is very real.
What energy is Drake working with? The dragon.
He tells you right in his name. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, once again, Dragon's dealing with consciousness. I think Drake is more of a person that controls like an orchestra. You know, he knows how to put plays together and plans together to make stuff sound a certain way. You know, because we kind of know that Drake don't really write his. If it's true, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? People say he don't write his stuff. So I think that he's more about good at putting plays together on that level. You know what I mean? But that's actually what a half-human dragon is called, a Drake.
I thought it was called a nigga, a half-human dragon.
But on a mythological level, half-human, half-snake is called a nega, the nega people. But another term for a half-human, another term for it is called Drake, a Drake person. A Drake, that's another term for a human consciousness, dragon consciousness. They call it a Drake.
You think he's aware of that? They had to tell him, right? He got to
Huh?
be aware. I said, you think he's aware of that? Like his
Man,
dragon
I think
energy?
that Drake is connected to through his bloodline, you know, because he's half Jewish. I think he's connected to some stuff that's real deep, man. And you know, because when he got put on the map, he blew up out of the water. I don't think Drake will ever die. His songs and stuff like that. I think he's gonna be big forever. I'm not even a Drake fan. I think he makes incredible music. You know what I'm saying? I give credit to where it's due. It's a lot of musicians I like and I don't like. I like lyrics, man. I'm a lyrical person. You know what I'm saying? That the guy you was talking about, Cam Bada, I saw him on Sway in the Morning. He blew my mind. I was like, man. And he was talking to metaphysical. I'm sitting there, I'm losing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh my God, you know? So yeah, I love that stuff. I want to take it back to that. I can't stand this. Shout out to everybody that's, you know, Southern and they get down with this. It's a lot of Southern rappers I love. Andre 3000. Rick Russ, a lot of Southern rappers that's dope. Andre 3000 is my favorite Southern rapper. Andre 3000 is so next level lyrical, man. You know, but a lot of Southern stuff, I need people to be more lyrical, man. Because I can't get to the. I'm not trying to turn up. You know, I wanna think. I want something that's gonna make me think. That's just the type of person I am. But you know, you talk too much about that, they'll call you a hater. So I can't talk about that too much, brother.
No, yeah. No, definitely.
That's what the young kids call me. When I tell my young cousins, or they say, "Man, you a hater, man." I say, "Nah, bro, I need conscious rap. That's all." I'm still a cannabis fan. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I listen to cannabis every day almost. Melatonin Magic. Oh my God. You know, that's one of my favorite albums.
Word.
You know?
Shout out to cannabis. Shout out to cannabis, man. Shout out to that brother right there. Let's take a couple of questions from the people. We got almost 1,400 people in the chat. I mean, this was a fire live, y'all. I told y'all it was gonna be an occult classic. I was looking for a picture because you was on my phone just now while you was talking. Put the questions in the chat while I just kick with the brother real quick. When you was talking about spirit animal, you know what's funny? You saying that, and I was telling you about the lady saying the snakes around my head. When I moved to Brooklyn, a couple of years ago, probably about 3-4 years ago, and I seen a snake in my basement. A garden snake, a small snake in my basement. So when I told the person that owns the whole townhouse about it, the landlord, and he was like, everybody I told, they was like, nobody sees snakes in Brooklyn. Like motherfuckers thought I was crazy. Like I was making it up. Like I thought I was crazy. I'm like, yo, I know I seen this snake. So then the next year I seen a snake again in the basement. But this time I took a picture of it. And I showed everybody the picture so they knew I wasn't crazy. But I'm seeing snakes in Brooklyn. I'm telling Blue Pill lived in Brooklyn his whole life. Nobody's never seen a snake in Brooklyn. Everybody thinks I'm nuts. But I got the picture the second time, and I'm like, yo, why the fuck am I seeing snakes, yo? This shit is insane. Just me thinking about it. I'm hoping I don't see one right now. But yeah, so it's funny. It's
animal spirit, brother. That's your animal spirit, man. That's all. That's your family right there. That's your family.
Man, that's some interesting stuff, man.
Wow. Yeah, get you a snake totem, man. You might start to see a lot of spiritual stuff happen around you.
Get a snake totem.
Get a snake totem, brother. Hang it up in your car or put it around your neck, carry it in your pocket, just to see what happens. I got a medicine bag where I carry the deer totem and a snake totem. You know what I mean? And whenever I put that snake totem in there, man, I run into the most intellectual people every time, man. I'll be in the middle of CVS. And somebody started talking about quantum physics or something like that. Every time I wear that snake totem, bro. So yeah, you'll be surprised, man. That's a certain level of consciousness.
I'm gonna follow your advice. I'm gonna follow your advice, brother. I'm gonna follow your advice on that one. I see the people. They got the questions coming up. One brother, the first question I seen. I'm gonna just start here. I don't know if people asked questions before that. Well, let me start with this because there was controversy about Baphomet on the internet a year ago or something. Can Baphomet be your spiritual parent?
No. Only because Baphomet is just a symbol. It's a real entity, but it's an astral entity. See, a lot of things that's created here, if I draw a picture right now, it's going to exist in the astral plane. So in occult circles, Baphomet was worshipped as a symbol of the perfect man. That's all the Baphomet is. It's just a symbol of you. It's a symbol of the perfect man. That's not something that, and I know it's connected to the God Pan. That's true. They took aspects of the God Pan and connected it, but it's not the God Pan. It's just an aspect. The God Pan would be that, But at the same time, the Baphomet itself is just a powerful symbol of balance and the completed man. That's all it is.
Okay. Best practice to achieve diamond body.
Oh, yeah. So that person, if you want to get into that diamond body, you want to get this book, family. The book I talked about. They talk about the diamond body, right? And it also goes into what I was telling y'all about earlier with the chakra system, that these occult schools don't put out there for everybody. And we all know we have over 100 chakras in our body. You know what I'm saying? Over 100 chakras is in your body. We talk about 7 and we get stuck on 7. We get stuck on 7. But there, just like I told y'all, this picture here, it goes into those chakras in the back of your head. You know, that's very powerful. So it says here, I'll read this what it says real quick. It says there are 3 chakras which were secret and are only open to very advanced adepts on the left-hand path. The next steps in which to reach Sahara chakra, but through the awakening of the Anja chakra and the secret chakras, the adept can take a step beyond himself and the 10th level, and through Sanya on the 11th level to create, and they talk about different levels of chakras, to create new worlds beyond and other side of the black hole. And it goes on to talk about what will happen to the adept. The adept will also find infinite light that has previously been experienced as darkness. So when we talk about Lucifer, we talk about darkness, we talking about light. Like Bobby Hemmings said, it's light that you can't see. That's why it's dark. So we're ignorant to it. So like I talked about before, you got the Ein Sof which is the false light, but it's light down here that we think we conscious of. You got the Ein Sof, which is where the spirit world is, the gods and stuff hang around. So it's a little bit of a higher form of light. And then you got the Ein, the negativity, the darkness. And that is where the primordials are. That is the overworld. That is the world where our souls come from. That's where we are originally from. That's what makes us primordial, because we have a soul. We're just people that got amnesia and we don't remember who we are. So that's the next level to achieve what the left-hand people call the diamond body. You want to get into this book, family. I know it's expensive, but if you serious about your work, that's what you want to get.
Indeed. I like how you show books, but you remind me, that's that Bobby Hemmett energy. He used to always have the book, showing books to people, show them the references and all of that stuff. I like that old school energy right there. Kyle wants to know, how do we find our spirit animal?
That's a good question. I gave out a ritual that is it works very well, of imagining a medicine wheel. This is an old Native American shamanistic practice of finding your animal spirit. Usually the shaman of American Indian tribes or even African tribes give you spirit animals. And usually the shamans will be the ones to actually walk right up to you and tell you what your spirit animal is. And if you are part of that culture, that animal will be tied to your name. Like in the indigenous culture, my name is Nawadi Awi, which is sky deer. The sky in their philosophy represents the spirit world. And it's actually Nawadi Nakwisi Awi. Nakwisi meaning star. When you deal with the word star, you're dealing with astral. So that when dealing with the astral plane, you're dealing with the stars, you're dealing with the universe. That's why I said about beyond out there, it don't really exist. It's a hologram. We're dealing with a hologram. When you get to the 4th dimension, the astral world, that's what that really is. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you find your spirit animal by sitting in that medicine wheel and imagining different animals around you, and asking one of the animals to walk in that dream. It could be a bird, it might be a caterpillar. Whatever you see, be honest with yourself. That's your animal spirit. I did a whole video about it. Go look at that on my channel. What are animal spirits? And I gave away that ritual in there.
All right. Jeremiah wants to know, is the spiritual systems of Kemet the first?
No. They're one of the oldest today. That's a fact. Because Kemet is where everything got mastered at. So we talking about alchemy, sorcery, what people call witchcraft. We know witchcraft was something that was created when a certain group of the Moors who came out of Kemet went into Europe and they start teaching the females up there witchcraft. You know, they made them into witches. You know, so all sciences do come out of Africa and Egypt, but I wouldn't say it's the first. You definitely got older systems. You know, if you're talking about spiritual systems, you definitely got older. Voodoo is probably one of the oldest spiritual systems in the world. Voodoo been around before you can imagine, because the first real spiritual system was shamanism, right? The man who did the bush practices, those were the first spiritual systems. So the first system was word of mouth. It was oral traditions dealing with the shaman. And then you went on into Atlantis, and then on into, they talked about how Tahuti left Atlantis and went into Kemet and taught knowledge over there. So I wouldn't personally say that Kemet was the first spiritual system.
Okay. Miss Squeaky wants to know, how can you block people from doing black magic on you? My neighbors are big into this.
Well, I have a spell on my website. It's only $20, and it gives you a very powerful tree magic spell to help block negative energy and help block black magic. If you really want to learn how to block black magic, you gotta learn magic, right? You gotta learn magic, and usually, from what I've learned about the way karma works and the way negative energy works, a lot of that energy comes from people get revenge. So usually a person won't do nothing to you unless you do something to them, usually 9 times out of 10, right? I only had maybe 2 people try to do something to me in my life magically, right? That was it, right? I don't do fighting the spiritual wars unless I have to. So if you want to learn how to fight black magic and you're dealing with neighbors that do it, you're going to have to, family, learn how to do magic for yourself. And I tell people, some people don't like it, but I tell people to start with Wicca. Wicca was the most simple form of magic that took me leaps and bounds. I started with Wicca. I went into Kemet magic, dealing with the Kemetic magic. Then I went into voodoo and I started learning about hoodoo. But I learned the basics of magic, about the 5 elements and nature and working with gods. I learned that from Wicca, which came from the Moors. You know, so that's what I would say. Learn magic, family. That's the best block to do that. But if you don't feel like doing that, I do have a spell on my website, family. How to block black magic.
And what's your website again?
newlifetools.com.
Okay. All right. Indigo wants to know, best for beginners to begin doing ancestor work. So I guess what's best for beginners to do?
For beginners, I would say just set up a simple ancestor altar. 4 elements. Put your 4 elements up there. I would say don't really use crystals like that, because crystals can absorb energy. You can use a bone. A bone can actually be replaced. You can get dirt from outside. You can get plants that can be replaced at the earth element, because a lot of people put a ton of crystals on their altar and they try to absorb to think that the frequency of the altar is going to go up. No, don't do that for your ancestors. Put some food up there. Give if your granddaddy liked tobacco, put some tobacco up there and feed them. You know, feed them. Get some spiritual prayers and put that up there.
So feed them what they like. Don't feed them vegan dishes, huh?
No, unless they was vegans, you know.
Yeah.
They like I ain't gonna lie, they like soul food. My ancestors like chicken, cornbread, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? They like what people consider unhealthy food. I'm gonna keep it real. My grandfather still like buttermilk. You know, he want coffee every now and then. That's how it is. You know, you gotta put that up there and burn the ancestor money. That helps too. That's another thing you can do. Burn that ancestor money. That helps.
For people that have a hard time comprehending that ritual, how does somebody who's not physical partake in physical food?
That's a good question, man. So what they do is they suck the energy up. The food does manifest. In order to make magic manifest, you're going to need the 4 elements, right? Real magic can't really be done without the elements in the 3rd dimension. So when you do that, you set up the space for them. It appears in the 4th dimension. When you light that candle, always tell people, call your ancestor's name. Call their name. Uncle Charlie, whoever, come find the light. Now, if you burn some ancestor money, it'll help them get there quicker. You know, because black folk love some money. You know what I'm saying? Now, that's all transferred into energy in the spirit world. That's all it is. So they suck that up as energy and it feeds them light. Because it's true. They need help on the other side. You know what I mean? They need help. So that's what I would say, family.
All right. Let's get to the next question, family. How do you measure the energy you invoke in objects when you can't see spirits yet?
I know who that is too. That's a good question, brother. That's a good question, man. How do you measure the energy in an object? Well, I'm trying to figure out why would you want to measure the energy in an object? You know what I mean? Because that's not the most important thing is not really to measure it. You know what I mean? If you can't, because seeing spirits has nothing to do with energy in an object. So I'm just trying to put the question together. So what I'm going to say is that don't really worry about measuring the energy, because the more energy you put into a ritual, the better. I think the goal should be try to put as much energy into the ritual or object as you can. So like when I do a ritual personally, I may pick up like a cauldron, you know what I mean? Like this is one of my wands. I showed this in my videos before. It's one of my magical wands, you know. And when I'm using it, I'm trying to put as much energy into it. I'm not trying to measure it. So I always tell people, charge all your items before you do a ritual. Whether you got a cauldron, a feather, whatever, charge those things, then do the ritual. Don't worry about how much energy you put into it. Put as much energy you need to. Don't measure it. Just put the energy into it and do the ritual, right? Because it's not about seeing spirits or energy. It's about how much energy can you manifest. That's the most important thing.
What is the light body like? Chris Jazz wants to know.
Light body. And to get more clarity on this, I want people to go read up on the Dzogchen Buddhists. They are the oldest group in the world that talks about the light body. The Dzogchen Buddhists are, you can get books on this stuff. The Dzogchen Buddhists, they talk about how I think they helped over 250,000 people or something like that turn into light over the past few hundred years, you know? So the light body is simply just a light that comes from the fifth dimension. That's really what the light body is. So when you talk about the light body, which is more of a right-hand path approach, you're talking about a solar body. You're talking about a body that deals with solar energy. You become one with the sun. You become a sunbeam. That's pretty much what that is. The middle path deals more with what they call a rainbow body, which deals with sex. You're going to need to get into sex magic to really invoke that. And it's a good book. I don't have it in front of me, but it's called Tibetan, man, I can't think of it, but I showed the book before, but it's called Tibetan something. But the middle path is dealing with the rainbow body. I think it's called the rainbow body and purification. I think it's called the rainbow body and purification. In that book, they talk about the sexual intercourse that has to take place to achieve a lot of aspects of what they call the rainbow body, which is the middle path body, because you're absorbing different types of realms of lights. And then the left-hand path is the diamond body. So the light body is simply like a solar body, family. That's all that really is. Y'all asking some good questions too.
Indeed. Yo, they excited about this show, man. This show is
I'm grateful.
This is it.
I'm grateful.
You know what I'm saying? You talk about manifesting, you manifested this show right here, brother.
And you know, I put up a lot of pictures on my Instagram where people could see my aura, and you could see orbs, and you know what I mean? I put up a lot of different pictures to let people know I really do this magical stuff. You know what I'm saying? I've had pictures. I made flames turn into animals, and you know, I had a flame flap its wings like a bird and everything. So this stuff is real. I'm trying to show people how to do it themselves. So it's real, fam.
What Super wants to know, what does the bee represent? The bee.
The bee. That's a good question. The bee is also represents. They say that bees are nothing but teardrops of the sun. So bees represent certain aspects of solar energy. Bees like to come around high vibrational things. So that's why they're trying to get rid of a lot of the bees. So they spread positivity. Bees, they spread life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Bees also create honey, which can be used in, and this is a big secret, but honey can be used in solar practices, dealing with the sunlight, and honey can absorb sunlight. All right. So honey is very powerful. So bees create all this stuff, right, from their own nectar. So the bee simply represents an entity that works for the sun. It's a very high vibrational being. So if you get a lot of bees around you, they're not trying to sting you or hurt you. The bees are simply there to show you that your aura is very bright. They are attracted to high vibrational auras. So bees are a good thing, family. The first time I had an encounter with a fairy, I saw bees, and I saw fairies riding bees and stuff like that. Bees are very high vibrational. So the bee simply represents an aspect of the sun, family. It's an aspect of the sun.
It's powerful, man. Wow. Let's get to the next question. Shout out to this sister Kamika. She this sister right here is a dancer, and she actually performed in Mia Kambata's first video, Black Magic. Kamika, shout out to you, my sister. She wants to know what entities running the music industry, who they selling their soul to.
That's a good question. So the music industry is definitely dealing with demonic energy, a lot of it, right? I'm not saying that all music, because it's like people like her, because you have Luciferian music in the industry too. Luciferian music is what I mean, more like people who talk about love, something like her, the artist her. She has a more of a high vibrational Luciferian energy that wants to bring a higher vibration. But when you're dealing with the people that run the music industry, you're dealing with people that deal with the satanic side, and what you're dealing with is people who are part of secret orders that control these music industries. So they're trying to just zap your energy. So they make you, so as soon as you sign a contract and they make you change everything about yourself, you're selling aspects of your soul. That's pretty much what you're doing. And Sony, from what I'm hearing, is one of them music groups that is good at that, right? I'm gonna keep it real. I know Sony's behind is dealing with a lot of that satanic stuff, right? And I don't look at satanic stuff as something that's evil. It depends on what level you're dealing with it from, because the satanic church ain't a threat at all, right? They their doctrine, that's religion. When you're dealing with Osiris in the underworld, some deep, heavy, dark occult stuff, then you're dealing with people that want to control your soul. So when you sign these contracts, a lot of times you got to be careful what you're signing, because you could be giving away pieces of yourself, and these people own you. And I don't know if it's true, but from what I hear is some of these contracts that people sign will say stuff like, "I own you from here to the ends of the universe." I've never seen a record contract, but I've been in touch with people that's in the music industry heavy, and they sign contracts, and they'll say stuff. This stuff says some weird stuff on it. We own you to the ends of the universe. So these music. But thank God that we live in a country now where technology is allowing people to not have to sign contracts anymore. If you're an artist, you shouldn't even need a record label. YouTube and everything else, you can promote your own music and just blow up. You know what I mean? At one time, you needed a record label. You don't need a 360 record label deal no more. I think that's a people who, and that could be my opinion, because I don't know the record music industry like that. But I think that you don't really need a 360 deal or to get with these people. So, in my opinion, family, you're selling your soul to these demonic energies that want to control the music industry. That's pretty much what it is. These elite groups that deal with demonic energy. That's what that is, family. I'm just trying to say it as fast as I can, because I can keep going. I'm trying to shut my mouth.
No, definitely. Say what you got to say, my brother. We're gonna be on here, family, for about 15 more minutes. That'll be the brother. That'd mean the brother has talked for 2 hours, so I don't want to wear the brother out. You know what I'm saying?
It's all good. I could do this forever. But go ahead.
I appreciate the brother for coming on here once again. Before we continue and wrap things up, family, once again, make sure you show support. Hit up my Cash App, $ Black Magic 363, and let me put your Cash App in the chat one more time. It's Bro Yosef, right?
Yes.
All right. I just put the brother's Cash App in the chat. Make sure you support this brother.
And let me say this too, brother.
Yeah.
Just to say more to her question, there's no such thing as Satan. So when I'm saying satanic groups and satanic energies, I'm saying that people that are against creation, they're against life. They're against happiness and fulfillment. They're all about control, and they work with these dark energies on the other side to consume souls. So yes, these are demonic energies, and they are the ones that's pretty much running the label. They're behind these societies that's doing it, and it's not the Illuminati.
All right, let's get to a few more questions, family. Thank you, Sonny Gray, for donating. Sonny wants to know, how many times do we come back here, and do we ever come back in our family tree?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. You come back here until you do what your soul came to do. Sometimes we don't know our soul's mission right away. We don't know our soul's mission right away until later. So usually when you come back in a bloodline, you're going to keep coming back in that family's bloodline if you caused a problem in that family's bloodline. So let's just say you was in your bloodline and you slept with your brother's wife and you caused a big ruckus between you and your brother, and it was a big issue. You're most likely going to be reborn back into that family until you fix those problems, and you and your brother have to keep working that out until y'all fix that problem in different lives. So that's what that is, family. So yes, you do come back down through your family tree. Sometimes you don't. It's all based on what you're here to do. It's all based on what you're here to do, because your goal before you come down here is to find the best way to complete your mission. So if your goal is to become an advanced healer in this world, you may not like your mother, you may not like the fact that your father wasn't there, but eventually later down the line, you'll see an opportunity to become somebody great. And that's what you come down here for, to complete your mission. So sometimes that does take you having to be born back into certain family bloodlines. So yeah.
Okay. Does ejaculating affect our astral body, and how to identify incubus or succubus people?
Okay. That's a good question. So yes, ejaculating does affect your astral body if you do it too much, because life force affects your astral body. And too much ejaculation, we all know you kill yourself. So a man must learn how to master his baits. That's really the purpose of masturbating. You're supposed to learn how to control your ejaculation. Every time you ejaculate, Lilith just killed you. Lilith, that's a sex ritual, right? So when you're having sex with a woman, she's always Lilith. Her goal is to suck up your life force, right? She's sucking up your life force. So when she submits, she becomes Eve. But at the same time, yes, ejaculation will hurt your astral body, because it will hurt your life force. So the goal is to sometimes learn how to ejaculate and learn how to circulate your sperm so you can circulate your chi. Montauk Chia talks about that, fusion of the 5 elements. And the way you're going to identify a succubus or incubus is that incubus and succubuses in people have a very high sexual drive. Very high sexual drive. So you'll see certain people, they'll be 40s and 50s and they still want to be a hoe, right? They still want to be loose and wild. You'd be like, what's wrong with this person? They want to be sexual. That's a succubus or incubus driving that person. Now, one time in a consultation, and it kind of freaked me out, I did a consultation with this girl from, I'm trying to think of what country she was from again. She was somewhere over in Europe. And she told me she was a real living, breathing succubus. And I guess in one of my videos, I talked about how now all succubus are bad. They're just trying to survive. And she said, thank you for saying that, because it's true. We're just trying to survive.
Wow.
And I said, man, that was, she talked to me for 10 minutes and hung the phone. I thought that was the weirdest thing ever. So yes, these things are very real in people. And the way you're going to identify them is a person that has a overly sexual, they can't control it. They always got to have sex. It's like over sexual drive. And usually that succubus or incubus is attached to one of their chakras that's driving them to do that. So yes, that's how you identify it in people, family.
Ooh, okay. Can you speak more on soul contracts?
I need a little bit more with that question. Soul contract is pretty much the contract that is different ways to look at that, but that's pretty much the contract that you sign before you come down here. Now, there are aspects of soul contracts in the physical realm in different ways, dealing with, once again, record labels, dealing with selling aspects of your soul, right? Signing yourself over to certain things. So, when I said something before, how I said when you see a lot of things happen to a lot of these celebrities because they sold their soul, right? And a lot of times they sold their souls through contracts, right? They promised something that nobody else ever saw except them and that record label, that they promised they would do something for a certain amount of time and they can't get out of that contract. That's how those things work. So I think I'm trying to understand what you mean by soul contracts. There's so many different levels to it. But if you're talking about the one you sign when you come down here, that's simply dealing with what you came down to do, right? What you came down to do. All of us came down here because we wanted to. And we signed a soul contract to get down here. So that's what I can say about that, family.
They want to know, how do you heal from black magic attacks?
Well, it's not so much that you need to heal from a black magic attack. It depends on what type of attack you got hit with. Some black magic attacks can affect your health. They can affect your health. It depends. That's a hard question to answer because I need to more specific about what type of black magic is a person getting hit with. It's a lot of forms of black magic attacks. But usually, family, I'll tell you guys the truth. If you have a very powerful aura, very strong, thick aura, it's going to be very hard to attack you. That's your natural shield that the creator gave you. So you need to work on your aura, work on building your life force.
Indeed.
If you can do that, it's going to be like you can't hex a baby. Any magician knows that. You cannot hex a baby. How many people ever heard of babies being possessed? You see it in movies, but you never hear about babies being possessed or somebody doing a hex on a baby. When a baby gets a little older as a little child, you probably could hex them. Because by that time they develop an ego, and usually what happens is the world starts to get to them. But you cannot hex a baby. You know why? Because the baby's aura is so thick. You can put a baby in a haunted house and that baby's gonna sleep like a baby. Because you can't affect a baby with a thick aura that's shining bright like that. They ain't got no chemicals in their body yet. They drinking straight mama's milk. You can't affect the baby. So the key is having a strong aura. That's the best way to do it. That's why I tell people it's important, depending on where you work. And I just did a class on my Patreon, New Life Tools Ministries on Patreon. I did a thing about because I'm getting ready to do a protection magic class. And the first step was I taught people about psychic attacks. And anybody who's ever hexed somebody before, I threw a few myself. I had to defend myself a few times. I threw a few myself. Whenever you're dealing with hexing somebody, the first thing you do is you psychically attack them. That's a fact. If you want to be your hex to be effective, you make that person have nightmares. You psychically attack that person. You send stuff to their mind so they get into a certain mindset. When they start thinking a certain way, it affects their aura and it weakens their defenses. Then you hit them with a hex. Most people, hexes don't work because they just hit people with hexes. And it bounces right off. You have to get a person psychically attacked first, then you hit them with a hex. So the best way to do that is a strong aura, family. Work on your aura.
Let's get to the next one. We got about 7 more minutes, family. What you feel about those of us that are not fully black? Do we have more work to do when it comes to awakening, or are we at a loss?
That's a good question. I'm not sure what she mean by fully black, but I guess she's saying fully melanated. You know what I mean? Everybody has melanin, family. There's different types of melanin. Everybody doesn't have the same type of melanin. So when you're dealing with it, it's like Brother Bobby Hemmett broke down one time, a white person could look white and they could have 1 drop of melanin and have a soul, right? I'm one of those people that believe that every race on the planet have a soul, because I've seen people who are white, Chinese, everything do magical things, and I've seen them in spiritual realms. That's just my opinion, based on my experience. So it's not so much that you need to do work if you're not fully black. It's not that you're going to have a harder time. It's just that, are you doing the work or not? Right? It's a lot of people in different races that get down spiritually more than other people. Right? So those who are not fully black can evolve and elevate just like anybody else. It's all about how hard you work. Right? Some people don't have the genetics to build muscle fast. Some people, they've been cock diesel from birth. Some people just got it like that. But it doesn't mean that the person whose genetics isn't like that, they can't get cock diesel too. They just got to work. It's all about how much work you do, family. So when it comes to weight, so you're not lost, family. You're not lost at all. It's all about doing the work. If you're alive and you're attracted to spirituality, you have a soul, period, point blank, because you would not be attracted to this type of information if you didn't. That's what that is. If you don't have a soul, you can't change. That's one of the biggest secrets. If you don't have a soul, you could never change. You could never evolve. Your mind won't even change. You'll be the same person that you always been. So if you even thinking about considering about evolution, you have a soul. And go with that, family. Go with that.
All right. Does the sun harm you?
The sun can harm you, depending on certain times. The sun can't harm you. Absolutely. You can look at the sun too long and it'll blind you. The sun can't harm. There's ways that the sun can't harm you. That's a fact. So I guess I'm trying to figure out in what way you mean can the sun harm you. But yeah, the sun can't harm you. It depends on what you're talking about. The sun can't harm you, family.
Advice on raising spiritual children.
Another good question, because I have a 6-year-old. I have a daughter, and I put her to work. You understand? And she get mad at me, but she at that age now where you're not gonna be Brother Yosef's daughter and not know no magic. You know what I'm saying? So you getting up early, you dealing with these ancestors. You know what I mean? I'm gonna sit down and talk to you about such, such, and such. We doing all that. So my advice on that is, it's important that you let your children see you doing spiritual stuff. Psychologically, just like a little child needs to see their mom and dad hugging and kissing sometimes. It's a psychological thing. A little child, you need to be affectionate with it sometimes. You have to hug that child and kiss that child and tell that child you love them. It's a psychological effect. So if you want to affect that child psychologically, spiritually, the child needs to see you. When a child thinks you're not looking at it, the child needs to see you doing spiritual things. And you need to have that child at a certain age, I would say 5 or 6 years old, start teaching them about spiritual work. I also told people to get a book called, trying to see if I have it next to me, but there's a book called, The Trivium. The Trivium. I want people to get
a brother just mentioned that in the chat. Did you see him mention that, or you just happened to mention it?
Huh? No, I can't even see the chat. I don't even look at the
brother.
chat.
Literally, the brother just said, "Teach your kids the Trivium."
Okay, yes, he might have watched one of my old videos, and I did a video about spiritual family, and I was telling people, teach your children the Trivium.
What is that?
If they can stand on those first 3 principles, you can teach your child anything: logic, grammar, and rhetoric, and that child can pretty much learn anything. And then you can take them on to the next level, the quadrivium, right? So I recommend doing your ancestor work. Start them out with ancestor work, and let them see you doing spiritual stuff, and then start doing trivium with the children, and you will have no problem with your child going spiritual. But living in front of the kids, that's the biggest thing, living in front of them.
Indeed. Let's get to one last question, family. We're going to do one last question. Let's see. Wow, what an amazing live, y'all. Wow. Well, this ain't the last question, but they want to know your social media info again. Let the people know.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. I'm New Life Tools on Instagram. On YouTube, I'm New Life Tools, NU space LYFE space Tools, TOOLS. I'm New Life Tools on YouTube, New Life Tools on Instagram. And I'm not really on Facebook like that, but I'm Brother Yosef on Facebook. I don't really like Facebook like that. For sometimes for business purposes, I'll be on there, but I don't like the energy of Facebook. So, but I am on Facebook as Brother Yosef, but I don't really be on there. Yes, and my website is newlifetools.com.
All right, one last question to the brother who wanted to send a donation. Thank you for the donation, Lightbringer. Lightbringer wants to know, is there a metaphysical reason behind dying in your sleep?
Absolutely. People who die in their sleep, they don't have enough energy to wake up. That's pretty much what that is. A lot of people today are dying in their sleep because they're just not going into the next dimension. I had family members recently who passed away in their sleep. Some people just don't wake up. You can't get to the next level. We're going to the next frequency, family. I've been talking about this. Anybody know on my channel, my biggest video is 2020 Year to Master. In 2019, I told everybody everything that was going to happen. And boom, I said, y'all be careful because 2020 about to start with a bang. And the whole world about to change forever starting in 2020. Because that's the real 2012. When you look at the true calendar. So at the end of the day, family, we're going to a higher vibration and a whole nother level. And a lot of times people pass away in their sleep because they can't make it to that next frequency. You have to be on that frequency to go to that next level. And that's why a lot of people pass in their sleep. And when they pass away, they don't even know they're dead. That's the worst part about dying in your sleep. You don't even know you're dead. You're trying to wonder why the world is all weird and stuff, but you don't know you died. So for people who's not spiritual, the worst thing that can happen is they die in their sleep because they don't know they're dead. And that's one of the worst places to be spiritually when you die.
Ooh. Shit. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Again, Brother Yosef, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, brother.
Oh man, powerful first show on the channel. I'm glad my emails is going to your spam, so I'm glad you found them in your spam folder.
Yes,
you know
sir. Yes, sir.
But yeah, you're gonna be busy. The people gonna be hitting you up, brother. So I hope you prepared. They're gonna come after you, man.
I'm grateful.
They're gonna come after you, man. So you're gonna be busy with the folks. They're gonna be interested in everything you got going on. I'm gonna have the brother on here again. The brother be a regular on the show, family, if he's willing to. Kicking in with the occult knowledge. Other than that, this is Brother Rich, Brother Yosef. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We getting out of here, family. Peace.
Peace, family.